I do not believe that the people listening to this have a full fundamental understanding of how insulting it was to this man, given what he's done and how hard it is to do what he achieved, to have no job offers and have to interview multiple times in Atlanta. If you think this person who had to watch a documentary made by Bob Kraft for Apple TV that shreds him and explains how Kraft and Brady won all those Super Bowls together, if you do not understand that he is vengeant in what his pride is right now in making sure that as a football genius and glass eater, he is going to do whatever is within his means to not be as mortal as you think he is at his age, because he's not. He's immortal. And he's going to take that job and want to crush everybody with, I walk into every room as Bill Belichick, and Sampson's here saying no to $10 million in a media career for Belichick. McAfee was giving him $1 million to just show up. Belichick's name shows up in a room and North Carolina money's going into it. Deion Sanders just made a mint of money with a nowhere program, dancing and being Deion. This is a beast coming to college football. This is not a lazy old man that you underestimate because you're forgetful about what he did before the last 5 years you were watching. Do you know what it takes to win in that sport? Everyone is fighting for money, for careers with their bodies. This dude conquered everyone, had a murderer on the roster, went through cheating scandals, conquered that league again and again like no one has, and now wants to prove it in the minor leagues of professional football. I'd be terrified to compete against whatever he's got coming my way.
I don't feel good about it as a Miami fan. Look, that program's had my program's number, and that was when they had Mac Brown there. Now they have the greatest head coach of all time. Like, you can have your opinions. This is a major hire for UNC. This is a program that's a basketball school, an afterthought. This is a huge hire, Mike, for the ACC and for North Carolina.
It's a major hire for sports, not just this sport. For sports, how Brady leaves Patriot Way and is like, oh, shit, look how much my brand is worth. This kind of winning championship, people inside and outside of sports pay $100,000 for 15 minutes in a corporate speech to hear what this man's wisdom is. Please don't make him an old fool because he's 73 and you think he's Mac Brown. Like, you haven't been paying attention to what this person does for a living.
Are you scared of him? Or what if North Carolina made an announcement that the coach was someone you never heard of, but the money was going to $70 million?
A coach you've never heard of? Who would that even be?
Yeah, I've heard of all the coaches.
Okay, fine.
I mean,
Someone not the greatest
premise.
coach of all time.
Expert. $70 million. That
I'm more scared of the money than
Robert,
the coach.
our IT guy. Make it Robert, our IT guy.
If they have $70 million in talent acquisition when the high end in this sport is like 25, yeah, that'd be really terrifying. But look.
Wait, hold on, Robert. There's 3 minutes left in the game. You have all 3 timeouts. The other team's on the 40-yard line. They're driving. They're trying to score. When are you going to use your timeouts?
All right, we'll interview Robert at the end of this segment. Robert, go get to your introductory press conference in the media room so that we can get Robert as the
$70 million.
He's the fictitious coach. He's going against Belichick because he's got a $50 million advantage. Yes. It's Robert from IT is what you're telling me. And so you're now going to interview him as if he's got a game against Belichick or he's inheriting a program to compete against Belichick?
I think, all jokes aside, I think that North Carolina made a huge hire. And yes, I'm more nervous about this because this, to me, seems like a pretty obvious improvement over what they had. And you can have your questions. It sounds like this program is going to take a beat. What if he gets to practice and he realizes, damn, this entire roster is not up to snuff? That's going to take time. Even the greatest recruiters of talent, it takes a little bit for them to get their program in place. When you're talking about a 73-year-old, how much time are we talking about? These are all valid questions, but also I've seen the coaching inside this conference, and I've seen his career. I think he'll be fine in a one-game sample.
Yeah, it's a 3-year deal, so you have to figure, like, this gets people excited about North Carolina football. This invigorates the boosters. They see, here's what we can do with a really good head coach and a shit ton of money in 3 years. Let's set it up for the future and then see what happens after Bill Belichick. I think that they're trying to, like, set up this program for the next decade and get people reinvigorated about this football program.
I thought when Jim Larrañaga came to Miami that he was coming to retire, to take it easy, to take one last job, to just cash out.
You were right.
And I understand. Well, I wasn't right.
Particularly the last 2 seasons.
The last 2, this one, boy, did they lose
7
to
straight?
Charleston Southern
Yeah.
at home by 20.
Good news
they were a
is
25-point favorite.
Good news is, Dan, not only are we bad in college basketball, but according to Ken Palm, we're the unluckiest team of all time.
Well, but you're also bad.
Yes, yeah, that too, but also very
But
unlucky.
I accused him of coming down here to retire, and I was wrong. And in the subsequent 10 years, he built a program and fought the business well the last couple of years until recently. I want to talk about the entirety of Belichick's career management at this point as an enterprise. He doesn't want to lose forever. What do you mean Brady was responsible for all my success? Like he doesn't have any reason to need to do any of what he's doing, except he is built to try and win at these things. What?
He got 5 years, $50 million.
So you think that's
at 73. There are not a lot of 73-year-olds who are able to monetize. And you just said, oh, McAfee gives him $1 million just for showing up. $1 million is not 50. And he sets up where it can be a family. And don't forget, always pleasing your dad. So there were a lot of factors. He didn't just wake up, poof, and say, oh, I'd go to Drexel.
I'm guessing that Belichick was making $10 million a year in his media career. I'm guessing.
Take the under and pound it.
He was doing so many jobs, David.
He did have a lot of jobs. Closer to 5?
He was selling his name everywhere, and people were competing for that name. Grant me a little bit that I know a little bit about what is being done when people come into the content space and can cash in on their name. Like when he's helping Tom Brady with his pod, these guys know the value. This is a sports brand name in America's most popular sport, better at excellence than any of them. Like, you will not make this a dirty old hobo who's fishing on the side and walking shirtless out of his girlfriend's apartment behind me and looking.
You're the only
Exactly what he's
person making
doing.
him a dirty old hobo.
No, because I feel
You're the one that's mentioned his age more than anyone else.
because I feel like he's being disrespected in what the assessment of the questions are, because they're so extreme on the other side of this, as if the last year of the NFL not hiring him erases that he conquered it for a quarter century.